अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी अमर रहे, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी अमर रहे, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी अमर रहे. I am grateful to the Thinkers Forum for giving me this opportunity to share my impressions, experiences, interaction with Atalji, who is a darling to millions. There are millions who love him, respect him, and many of them revere him. And of course, I'll speak to you in English, but I trust I have your permission to shift to Hindi in between to express myself better. And don't forget, Atalji was the best possible orator India has produced in Hindi in the last 100 years. So it is just befitting. Atalji was born on 25th December 1924. And a year later, in 1925, on Vijayadashmi Day, RSS was born. And the two had a connect which lasted till Atalji died on 16th August 1980. It was a lifelong association. And Atalji, when he died, unfortunately, I was in London. My daughter and her family stayed in London. So we were I was on a family business. So I couldn't have his last darshan. And this guilty feeling continues to haunt me. When Atalji died, a lot of things came to my mind because I've known him for almost 4 decades prior to his death. Bharat Mata had lost one of its most devoted sons. India had lost its most powerful voice. Bharatiya Janata Party had lost its most credible and popular face. The RSS had lost a committed and dedicated Swayamsevak. And humanity had lost one of the best champions of human rights in the world. And sometimes death is a certainty. But when somebody who's close to you, known to you, you have admired, respected, somebody who has inspired you, when a person dies, then you think that there is a complete vacuum in the world. बिछड़ा कुछ वो इस अदा से कि रुत ही बदल गई. He left us in a way that changed everything for us. एक शख्स सारे जहां को वीरान कर गया. एक शख्स सारे जहान को वीरान कर गया. Now I want to start with a disclaimer that I am not here to give a unbiased view of Atalji. Whatever I'm going to say, it's a tribute from one of millions of his admirers. And I got to know Atalji somewhere in 1980. And then it was the interaction of almost 4 decades. When I met him, he was already a very tall leader with a towering personality. And I was a mere journalist with one of the English dailies. As our relationship grew, he made me feel comfortable. His personality was not intimidating at all. Normally, when you are in the shadow of a big man, then you get overawed. Atalji did not let you go overawed. He gave you such a comfort level. And it was nothing special about me. Anybody who interacted with him, anybody who got close to him, had that comfort level. There is a word in Hindi to describe such a personality, Sarvsparshi. So Atalji was Sarvsparshi. And of course, millions of people knew him. I was lucky because I got to know him more closely. And for decades, he was my leader, he was my teacher. In short, he was my friend, philosopher, and guide. Friends, I am here standing before you to talk about Atalji. Unfortunately, the only medium we have is the words, language. And language has got its own limitations. It cannot describe sentiments in an effective manner. It cannot describe personalities, even ideas. I'm going to ask you a simple question. What is the taste of Mysore pak? क्या टेस्ट है भाई? Say loudly. Everybody must have eaten Mysore pak. Meetha. What is the taste of cake? थोड़ा जोर से बोलो. मीठा. See. What is the taste of a mango? Khatta meetha. But it's also meetha. But we have used the word meetha for each one of them. But do they taste the same? No. The language cannot express the difference. It has only one word. Whether in Mysore pak, barfi, gulab jamun, cake, halwa, paisam, it has the same word, meetha. So, understand the language. Something, a medium which cannot describe even a sweet correctly, I am going to use the medium to describe Atalji. So understand my limitation and bear with me. I promise I'll do my best. Atalji was the best Hindi orator this country has produced, at least in the last 100 years. There is not a more effective communicator than him. And you know, I've seen him addressing meetings of where the audience will run into lakhs. But I've also seen him addressing meetings at times when the audience was just 40, 50, 60, 70. The size of the audience didn't affect him. He was there to deliver a message. The message of RSS, the message of the Jansangh, the message of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And he did it very effectively. How effective he was? You must have heard the name of Shivraj Patil. He was the 10th Lok Sabha Speaker from 91 to 95. And during that period, when he was a speaker, he had come to address a meeting where Atalji was sitting in the audience, right in the front row. I also happened to be there. And speaker had a teacher. He was in the dais. Atalji was in the audience. Looking at Atalji, he forgot the subject he had come to speak on. He said, Atalji is sitting here, how can I speak? He said, I'm a witness to that. That as a college student, I used to cycle miles, hitchhike, lifts in going trucks, on bikes. He was in the 2 districts of Maharashtra. He said, I will do it just to listen to utterly and will come back home and get a scolding from my parents because I'll be coming back 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Because those days there were no such election rules that you can't address election meeting after 10. So that was sort of a compliment a leader from the other political party paid. Now, you see a big edifice of BJP today. Modi ji's government is running the third term. There are so many state governments. Friends, it didn't happen in a day. There is a story of long struggle by thousands of people. And I'll share a couple of anecdotes with you about Atalji. Atalji contested the 1952 election from Lucknow Central. He got respectable 28% vote, but lost the election. And at that time, only 3 people had won. Then again, he was a candidate in 1957 election. And he contested from 3 seats. Lucknow, Mathura, Balrampur. All the 3 states of Uttar Pradesh. So I asked him, I said, why should you be contesting from 3 states? He said, Deen Dayalji felt that you are a good orator. So if you become a candidate, you will address meetings there. We may not win a seat, but at least the message of the party will go. That was the spirit. You are not fighting an election to win. You are going around the whole place, making all that effort so that the message can go to the masses. He lost his deposit in Mathura. He saved his deposit in Lucknow, but he won the election in Balbir. So at least 1 seat he won. And he was one of the 4 MPs which Jan Sangh had got in 1957. One day, Atalji had invited me for lunch at his house. And he was the leader of the opposition at the time. I went to his house and then somebody told me that Atalji is sitting with a guest in the drawing room. I had seen his program, nobody was expected. And Atalji was a stickler for time. So I peeped in. And the 2 gentlemen, Atalji and somebody even elder than him, they were laughing like him. So Atalji saw me, called me, and I was wondering who this man is and why are they laughing so much. So then Atalji introduced me to him, and then to cut the long story short, he told me about the man. He said 1957, after I became an MP, Deen Dayalji will send me to all sorts of places to address meetings. Because the party felt I was a good orator, so they must make full use of me. And I also used to enjoy. The party didn't have much resources. So I was given about 15 days to spend in Maharashtra. I went to Bombay. Mumbai office gave me a list. These are the meetings which you are supposed to address. So the arrangement was such that I will go in the morning in a bus to one district headquarters, address a meeting in the evening there, and stay there for the night, and next day I'll come back to Bombay and then again like that. See, I was told to go to a town, district headquarters. I got into the bus. The bus reached the destination sometime in the evening. It was getting dark. There was nobody to receive me. I didn't know where to go. And soon the bus station was completely deserted. There was not a soul except for some stray dogs. So what to do? So I started asking rickshawala, भाई इधर कोई जनसंघ का ऑफिस है? So one rickshawala said, yes, there is one Jansangh office there. I said, please take me there. I didn't have the address. So I got into the rickshaw, went to the Junction office. It was dark. It was locked. But Junction flag was there. So I started banging the door. The door was locked. After 5-7 minutes, one old man who introduced himself as a chowkidar of that, caretaker of that building. क्या हो रहा मैं मराठी में पूछा. I said, I'm Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So what? सवेरे आना. I said, I come all the way from Bombay. You please, who the district president? Tell him. अभी कुछ नहीं हो सकता. रात हो गया. जाओ. So I said, but where to go? I don't know anybody. What to do? After a little argument, he spread a dari, a mat, on the first floor veranda. You sleep there for the night, and morning the president will come. Then you talk to him. There was no option. So Atalji slept in a veranda, 1957, on a mat. In the morning, he got down, and people in small towns usually get up early. The chowkidar also got up. So 6 in the morning, he went on a cycle to the district president's house, and district president came with him. And he looked with surprise. Arey, aap Atal Bihari Vajpayee hain? Because those were not the days of TV that you saw the picture and could recognize. He had uttered his name, but he didn't know how he looked like. Aap kaise? Atalji was furious. And when they were arguing, the postman brought the telegram 3 days later. And he was the district president who was laughing with him, remembering this incident. Second incident with Jagdish Prasad Mathur told me. I don't know how many of you would have heard of Dr. J.P. Mathur. Dr. J.P. Mathur was secretary of the Karyalaya Mantri in Delhi for years and years, and he was also a member of Rajya Sabha. So earlier the BJP office used to be on the first floor in an old building in Ajmeri Gate next to New Delhi station, about 1 kilometer from the railway station. And Ajmeri Gate is sandwiched between New Delhi station on one side and famous Ramlila Maidan on the other. So 6 in the morning, somebody is banging the door. Jagdish Prasad Mathur was the Karyalaya Mantri. He opened the door. Atalji is standing with his hold on. You know, remember the hold on people used to carry in trays? So Atalji is standing there. Hey, you were supposed to come last night. 9:30, 10. You are coming now? What happened? Atalji. गाड़ी 4 घंटा लेट था. So it reached the station at 3 in the morning. I didn't want to come and disturb everybody sleeping in the Karyalaya. So I went and slept in the Ramlila Maidan. So 6 o'clock the dogs started bothering me. So I walked up now. Now this is how, friends, this party was built. Friends, who is Atalji? Of course we know him as a leader, as a good human being, as a good orator. This is my personal conviction. He was a human being, but he was a blessed human being. There was an element of divinity. I say it with all responsibility. There are people in life who are blessed by God specially. In fact, there is a divinity in each one of us. But there is something very special about some people. For example, Lata Mangeshkar. Even if all of us do riyaz, practice of music for 1000 years, Can we ever hope to sing like Lata Mangeshkar? Or play tabla like Zakir Hussain? I can take 20 names. Similarly, the way Atalji articulated in Hindi, and I have heard him I don't know how many times, each time it used to be a divine experience. He could speak with facts, with arguments, but in a manner it will sink right in your heart. And not only that, even the people, I gave you example of Shivraj Patil. I know many people in opposition who used to love to hear him when he used to speak in parliament, either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. The house used to be full, including important people who were very critical of him because they were from different parties. He was a gentleman politician. It may sound contradictory, oxymoron, a gentleman and a politician, but I did find both of them. And he dedicated his entire life to a value system. Atalji worked for Jan Sangh and BJP. But basically he was wedded to a value system, I will deal with that little later, which alone can save this world. Otherwise this world is going to kill itself. And now here are some anecdotes, personal anecdotes about Vajpayee ji, to which I have been a witness or a part of it. See, I traveled most of the country together long before he became even a leader of the opposition. And those days he didn't have any protocol. People coming to receive him on behalf of the government. And I was 25 years younger to my age. And so I took upon myself that when we reached the airport, I'll push the trolley, baggage trolley, and when we got down at the destination, even then I will pull the trolley. That was 1980s. One day sir, ये नहीं चलेगा. अरे उम्र में बड़े हैं आपसे, पर इसका अर्थ ये नहीं है कि आप ही सब काम करेंगे. एक बार ट्रॉली आप खींचेंगे, एक बार ट्रॉली मैं खींचूंगा. And India Today magazine published an article of the Prime Minister. Now date is November 12, 2001, when Atalji was the Prime Minister. They used a file picture of Atalji from their library. And the picture was Atalji is pushing a trolley and I am walking like him. I of course got the picture, and that is one of my treasures. That photograph speaks volumes. In 1991, I had some health issue. And I was admitted in Mulchand Hospital in Delhi. Now those were not the days of television. So Atalji dropped in to see me in the evening outside the visiting hours. The guard didn't recognize him. So guard stopped him and asked him, "Aap kaun ho?" Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The man was such an idiot, even the name didn't ring a bell. "Idhar se jao, jao." Then Dr. K.K. Agarwal, maybe many of you would have heard him. He was very popular during Corona, and he himself died of Corona. Dr. K.K. Agarwal. He was coming and he saw Vajpayee ji and this man talking to him like this. He intervened. Atalji was going back. He ran behind Atalji and called him. Look at the humbleness of the man. At that time, he used to have a policeman with him. He could have asked the policeman to intervene on his behalf, but Atalji didn't do it. Once Atalji had called me for lunch. And I went at the appointed hour, waited for 1 hour. There was nobody in the family, they had all gone to America. And there was no message for me. 2 o'clock. I used to stay about 4 kilometers from his house in Rayasena Road. So I left. Within 10 minutes, his driver came with a handwritten note, 3-4 lines. I had gone to Ghaziabad for a party program. And he had won ambassador those days. So you know the reputation of ambassador cards. So it wouldn't start. And those were not the days of mobile phones. He apologized and said, if you have not eaten, please come, I'm waiting for you. And I went back. Where do you get this sort of politeness, humbleness from somebody of Atalji status? I don't see it anywhere. Atalji his humble nature is known, politeness is known, but he was a very bold man also. In 1993, there was an election in Himachal. It's a very interesting incident. So we were in a private plane going to Himachal. 2 hours had passed. The co-pilot came. Atalji was sleeping next to me in the seat. He said, "Aapko pilot bula raha hai." I went. Cockpit. The pilot asked me, "Have you been to Dharamshala?" I said, "Why are you asking me?" He said, "Just look down. Is this town Dharamshala?" I said, "I came to Dharamshala 20 years back. And Dharamshala must have changed. How do you expect me to recognize? But why are you asking me?" He said, "We have lost the way. And I'm just using your expertise because we were supposed to land at an airstrip in Dharamshala. And I can't make out. And I can't see any airstrip. This is why I'm asking you." I said, "Will you use your whatever instruments you have, map you have?" He said, "This plane has maps of Second World War vintage." I said, "What?" Then I got to know this plane was owned by Singhania Group of Industries, JK Group of Industries. And BJP had hired it from them. And this plane and pilot had done only Delhi, Kanpur, Kanpur, Delhi. He had not flown anywhere else in life. So the plane was moving and soon there was only snow-clad mountains. I got scared we might cross into China. So I told him, he said, "Malum nahi hum hai kahan par?" I said, "How long the fuel will last?" He said, 4 hours. I said, "Return to Chandigarh." He said, "My navigation instruments are not working. I don't know where are we." So I went back to my seat. Atalji opened his eyes half like this. "Kya मामला hai?" So I told him, "Arey chud lega." 1 hour passed. We are moving above the snow-clad mountains. And 3 hours fuel left. I was very nervous. So crash looked like imminent after we ran out of the fuel, or you might cross into China. So I asked him, "अब क्या होगा?" "अरे कुछ इलेक्शन का समय है. Dead body, Atalji dead, Vajpayee dead. कल के हेडलाइन हो. Gun carriage पे शमशान में dead." I said, "See, you will go gun carriage. What will happen to me?" "अरे यहाँ भी इकट्ठे हैं, वहाँ भी इकट्ठे होंगे." He took it so lightly. Fortunately, there used to be a flight from Shimla, Indian Airlines, flight from Shimla to Kullu. So that plane spotted us, and we have been, those are not the days of 24/7 news channels, otherwise it would have been world news, Vajpayee plane missing. So they spotted us, they were able to contact us, we followed them, and we landed in Kullu instead of Dharamshala. But Atalji could keep his composure under most difficult circumstances. In after Indiraji's assassination, what people call Lok Sabha election, Advaniji rightly called it Shok Sabha election. And but you remember the riots which took place, anti-Sikh riots. I reached the place an hour later. What happened? Atalji's house used to be at Raisina Road in Delhi. Bank opposite Press Club of India, and next to Press Club of India there used to be taxi stand where about 40-50 taxis will be standing, and most of the drivers were Sikhs. And a mob of about 300 youth Congress workers, they came to burn the taxis and the Sikhs alive. The Sikhs ran to Vajpayee's house. The gate was locked, and there was a solitary sanitary policeman guarding with a rifle. Now they started banging the gate. They wanted to get inside. And Atalji heard the commotion. And he came out to find out what happened. The guard will not open the gate. Atalji forced him to open the gate. Walked out. And the crowd of 300 strong crowd of congressmen who were holding jerry cans full of petrol and diesel, they stopped. So you have a situation where a 300 strong mob with sticks and jerry cans and flames is standing, and you have got 40-50 terrified Sikhs standing behind you, and in between is Vajpayee. They asked Vajpayee, तुम हट जाओ बीच में से, ये कोई नहीं जिंदा बचेगा. Vajpayee said, पहले हमको मारो, तब इसके पास आ सकते हो. Meanwhile, the guards frantically tried the Parliament Street police station, which was next to Raleigh. That Vajpayee is in grave danger. Please rush reinforcements. So when this thing was going on, and these terrified people were hiding behind him, 10-15 minutes would have passed. Two police vans came and they fired in the air, and then this crowd ran from there. I have narrated this incident a couple of times because I got a call from his house. So I came in my car, but by that time everything got settled. How many people will know this aspect of Atalji? There was a plane hijack in Lucknow in 1993. Atalji was having lunch with party karyakartas in the circuit house. And the hijacker said, Vajpayee has to come in the plane and negotiate, otherwise we'll blow up the plane. You can refer to 1993 newspaper to know the details. The police officer said, nothing doing. Vajpayee will not be allowed to get inside the plane. They might like to kill Vajpayee. That may be the target. The day passed on. Atalji told the policeman, no, I'll talk from niche se baat karenge. Upar nahi jayenge. And before then, because he had reached the airport, he climbed the stair and went inside the plane. People will do anything to get out of this situation. Vajpayee walked into that situation. And the hijacker and some silly demands, he surrendered to Vajpayee. Tell me, how many people will do such a thing? On 27th of April 1999, you will remember how Vajpayee lost the government by one vote. There were proposals. We can buy votes. We can buy votes. I was witness to all that. एक वोट का क्या होता है? We can buy 20. But said nothing to it. हम वोट नहीं खरीदेंगे. वोट खरीद के सत्ता में हमको नहीं रहना. And maybe this is the only instance in the world where a government was lost by one vote. Now, there are few jokes which Atal had used. I am just going to narrate today because his speeches were punctuated with very serious content, but also they were punctuated with some interesting jokes and anecdotes. He used to make the audience laugh. When this Hindi agitation was going on in North India, it must be, I think, 1970 or something like that. He had come to address students in the university, Delhi University. And those days, one of the things, people who did not know English, they will try to speak wrong English. They will try to speak English and then end up speaking wrong English and make a fool of themselves. So Atal was trying to explain it. So I'll try to put it in his words and in his style. लड़के को लड़की अच्छी लग गई तो लड़की से कहा, इम्प्रेस करना था, तो अंग्रेजी में कहा आई लव यू। तो लड़की ने जवाब दिया आई लव यू टू। तो लड़के ने कहा कि अंग्रेजी में पीछे नहीं रहना चाहिए, आई लव यू थ्री। इसी तरह से this concept of dharma and religion, they are two very distinct things. Dharma is different and religion is different. I am not going to dwell on that theme. Atal explained it, the difference, in his own style to an audience like this. Now I move to Atalji's style and his wording. हमारे एक वामपंथी मित्र हैं, वो धर्म और रिलीजन को एक ही मानते हैं। हमने बहुत बार समझाया पर भाई के पल्ले नहीं पड़ा। तो एक दिन हम लोग कहीं गए, एक कार्यक्रम था, दोनों को जाना था, और जहां स्टेशन से उतरे तो वहां सबसे पहले अग्रवाल धर्मार्थ औषधालय लिखा गया। तो मैंने कहा अरे भाई साहब जरा इसका अंग्रेजी में अनुवाद करिए। तो थोड़ा अनकंफर्टेबल फील करते हुए, ऐसा अनुभव करते हुए, अग्रवाल रिलीजियस हॉस्पिटल आगे गए तो ओसवाल धर्म काटा था। तो मैंने कहा इसका अनुवाद करो। तो कहा ओसवाल रिलीजियस स्केल। फिर आगे शर्मा धर्मशाला थी, तो मैंने कहा इसका अनुवाद करो। उसने कहा शर्मा रिलीजियस होटल। तो जिनके घर जाना था उनके घर गए, तो उन्होंने कहा ये मेरी धर्मपत्नी है। तो मैंने कहा इसका अनुवाद करो रिलीजियस वाइफ। तो अटल जी का बात कहने का एक तरीका था। जब वो बस यात्रा में कश्मीर गए तो देयर वाज वन वेरी स्टनिंगली गुड लुकिंग जर्नलिस्ट। शी थॉट शी कैन पुल ए फास्ट वन ऑन अटल जी। शी सेड अटल जी you are a bachelor and I don't care about the age difference. If you agree, I'll marry you, but with one condition, I'll take Kashmir as a dowry. Atal ji said, अरे हम तो क्या है, पर हमको भी कुछ मिलेगा। हाँ, हमको पूरा पाकिस्तान चाहिए, हमको पूरा पाकिस्तान चाहिए। Atal ji was speaking in Lok Sabha. So the discussion was on fascism, RSS being Hitler and things like that. So Indira Gandhi stood up. Speaker sir, Atal ji हिटलर की तरह हाथ हिला हिला के बोलते हैं। तो अटल जी खड़े हो गए। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मेरे को वक्ता देखना बाकी है तो पैर हिला हिला के बोलता हूं। Then somebody in Lok Sabha stood up and pointed out to speaker. इंदिरा जी बोल रही हैं पर बार बार पीछे की तरफ देखती हैं। तो बिफोर इंदिरा जी could answer, अटल जी stood up. अध्यक्ष महोदय, इंदिरा जी का बार बार पीछे देखना बिल्कुल वाजिब है, बिल्कुल ठीक है, क्योंकि उनको खतरा पीछे से ही है। Those were the days, when Congress was splitting and all that, 1969. तो उनको खतरा पीछे से ही है। Once Atal was speaking, and obviously he was trying to consult somebody. So Indira Gandhi stood up and told the speaker, ये अटल जी बार बार पीछे क्यों देख रहे हैं? तो अटल जी इन ए मिस्चीवियस स्माइल, अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं पीछे क्यों देखूंगा, मेरी नजर तो वहां है, pointing out to Indira Gandhi. So two implications. One, Indira Ji was a good-looking woman, and the second, the office of the Prime Minister. तो मेरी नजर तो वहां है। As I said earlier, that Atal ji stood for Indian values. And one of the most prominent part of our philosophy is the right to dissent. अपनी बात कहने का अधिकार. We have always believed in dialogues. We have always, this is why India is a democracy. India is not a democracy because of the constitution. It is a democracy, it is secular, it is a pluralistic society because of our cultural, historical ethos. And this is why the constitution is like that. Otherwise, when Pakistan declared itself as an Islamic nation, we too would have easily declared ourselves as a Hindu state. There is a difference between state and nation. Of course, that is not the subject of today. And we declared ourselves as a secular state, democratic state, because that is our tradition, that is our ethos. In fact, the Hindu Rajas, you look at hundreds of them, they have their own deities, they have their own faith, but they never use the resources of the state or their influence to turn people into their faith. The only exception was Samrat Ashok, who used his influence as a king and also resources of the state to popularize Buddhism. In fact, I don't know how many of you would have gone to Udaipur. There is a place called Ranakpur, which is 100 kilometers away from. And Ranakpur Jain temples, they probably have more marble than Taj Mahal. The Udaipur rulers, they never called themselves as rulers or Maharaja. They called themselves as Maharana because the ruling deity of Udaipur was all Ekling Maharaj. They considered themselves as the prime minister of the ruling deity. And their prime minister and their actual prime minister would be invariably a Jain. And this Jain temple was built by one of their prime ministers. You won't find such tradition anywhere in the world. Now, and this has gone on. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, who was the president of the Congress 3 times, he set up Hindu Mahasabha in 1915. He was a Congress leader and a Hindu Mahasabha leader also. And Gandhiji, he had differences with Veer Savarkar, but he called Veer Savarkar as his spy. And When the first cabinet was made, at Gandhiji's instance, 3 non-Congress people were included in the cabinet. Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and Sardar Balbir Singh. So these have been India's traditions. When Nehruji died in 1964, somebody should read Atalji's speech at that time. I will just quote one para out of that. Bharat Mata is stricken with grief today. She has lost her favorite prince. Humanity is sad today. It has lost its devotee. Peace is restless today. Its protector is no more. This is Atalji's or Nehru's text. And you must have heard Rahul Gandhi's rants against Savarkar. Veer Savarkar. कुछ भी बोलता है. And then I want to use that word anyway. इतना समझदार है. He is fighting election in Maharashtra and abusing Savarkar and still hopes to win. You can't abuse Savarkar anywhere in the country, and more so in Maharashtra where he is revered. This is why Congress reached where it is. But it was not always like that. Indira Gandhi on Savarkar, on his birth centenary celebration, he said as Prime Minister, Veer Savarkar's daring defiance of the British government has its own importance in the annals of our freedom movement. I wish success to the plan to celebrate the birth centenary of the remarkable son of India. This is Indira Gandhi on Savarkar, whom Rahul Gandhi keeps abusing day in, day out. Then when in 1966 Savarkar died, this is what Indira Gandhi said. It removes from our midst a great figure of contemporary India. His name was a byword for daring and patriotism. Mr. Savarkar was cast in the mold of a classical revolutionary, and countless people drew inspiration from him. I've got many more quotes. You know what happened? In 1969, Congress split. And Indira Ji very badly needed support within Parliament. She depended on the Congress. And at that time, the communists started infiltrating into Congress. And then Congress lost its ideological moorings and it outsourced its entire ideological paradigm to the Congress. So whatever Rahul Gandhi is speaking now, it is not the original ideology of Congress. He is only echoing what communists used to say and still say. I'm not getting into, at the moment, what Karl Marx said and how that had become basis for the communist understanding of India, how they abused Gandhiji, Subhash Chandra Bose, how they sabotaged the Quit India movement, how they, when India became independent, they waged a war against the government of India, saying it is a government of the capitalists and cannot be tolerated, how they joined the Chinese in 1962. But it is the communists which, what you can say, has brought about this loss in cultural values. You know, we have believed in Vasudev Kutumbakam, and I don't know, the subject will become long. 1,000 times more Muslims have been killed by fellow Muslims than by non-Muslims because of the intolerance. More than 5 lakh Muslims have been killed by fellow Muslims in Syria. In Pakistan, you find every day Shias being killed by the Sunnis. And what the Christian missionaries have done the world over, they have killed about 7 to 8 million people who were the original habitats of Americas, Australia, and so many places. And in contrast, we have a civilization. Which respects the right to dissent And you would have seen, all Christian fathers have one uniform. सबका एक ड्रेस होता है. मौलवीज have one dress. हमारे यहाँ जो बाल रख ले, लंबी जटा रख ले, he is a sadhu. Somebody with a normal haircut is also a sadhu. Somebody shaves off the head completely is a sadhu. Somebody who wears a bhagwa is a sadhu. Somebody who wears white is also sadhu. And somebody who doesn't wear anything, he is also a sadhu. So that is a sort of a diversity. And in North India particularly, in any religious congregation of Hindus gathering, these 4 slogans are raised in entire North India. I am sure there would be something equivalent to that in South India also. धर्म की जय हो, अधर्म का नाश हो, विश्व का कल्याण हो. हिंदुओं का कल्याण की बात नहीं करते, पूरी दुनिया के कल्याण की बात करते हैं. We don't talk in terms of Hindus at home, Indians at home. We talk about the whole universe. प्राणियों में सद्भाव हो. The entire living things, they must live in harmony. This is one thing I want to emphasize. When Abrahamic civilizations, they insist on uniformity. Everybody should be Muslim. Everybody should be a Christian. Everybody must dress like this. Everybody must pray like this. And if you don't have a right to live. हमारे यहाँ we believe in harmony. We believe in not uniformity but in harmony. Everybody is unique in the world. All the 8 billion people in the world are unique like everybody else. And because of that value system, we have survived as a proud civilization. This is why we have ek sat vipra bahudha vadanti, sarve bhavantu sukhna, sarve santu niramaya. You are all aware of that. And Atal was a spokesman for all these values. He lived for all these values. And in the end, I will say, these lines are from Atal ji only. दांव पर लगा है सब कुछ, दांव पर लगा है सब कुछ, रुक नहीं सकते, टूट सकते हैं मगर झुक नहीं सकते. जय हिंद, भारत माता की जय.